105.7 Light FM. It is Doug Reese sitting in for Morning Dave, and we've got our technical difficulties, I think, straightened out now. We're going to go in and go check in with Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services and see what's going on with the market today. Hey, Phillip.
Hey, good morning, Doug. It's glad to be back. Technical difficulties. Tech works great when it works great, but when it does, it can be a little frustrating. But you got that resolved and back with you now. Hey, we've actually been able to put together two back-to-back up days in the market, and yesterday was a really big up. The Dow was up 2.8%. That was $825. It actually closed above 30,000 again at 30,316. S&P 500 up just a tad over 3%, $112, closed at $3,790. And the NASDAQ was the big winner yesterday, up 3.3%. That was up $361 to $11,176, being able to pass back over that 11,000 mark. So good news across that board. The question is, can we continue with that? And we'll talk about that at the end. But now let's talk about some of the things that are happening and some of the reports that are coming out. And let's look at yesterday's numbers that came out in terms of some of the things that happened in the marketplace. We had a couple things came out yesterday that we were talking about in terms of job openings. You know, job openings is one of the things that Dave and I have been talking about lately. And job openings actually declined by a little over 1 million job openings this last month, from 11.2 million down to 10.1 million. So we're seeing a little bit of compression there. There's still enough jobs for everybody out there looking for a job to have two. So we're still in good shape from that standpoint. The big thing that came out today was the ADP employment report, and it was better than expected. They expected 200,000. It came in at 208,000. Plus, they revised the last month up substantially because they had originally said there's 132,000. They revised that up to 185,000. So that was a pretty big revision on ADV's part. I remember Dave and I talking about how that was, awful low compared to what was expected. And obviously something got missed in that report. Looking at kind of where those jobs are coming from, the majority of those are, again, service jobs. Transportation, trade, and utilities picked up the most of them with about 147,000. So the other two or three positives were leisure and hospitality, education and health services, both picked up 30+ thousand, and then professional business services picked up another 57,000. So there obviously were some losses in there, but still better than expected. That hopefully gives us some indication of what Friday will look like when the actual U.S. government puts out their non-farm payroll numbers on Friday. The other thing that we need to look at is two areas we need to look at for today. One is mortgage applications. Those came out today, and that was a pretty big drop off again. They fell 14.2% from last week. We've now got mortgage rates up at almost 7%. So it's going to be interesting to see how that has an impact on the real estate markets. That is actually that the number came in is actually 86% lower than the same week a year ago. So we're seeing substantial losses there in those areas of real estate and mortgages. The other thing we need to talk about today, because they are meeting right now, is OPEC plus. They're having a meeting right now to determine what their output, how much they're going to cut their output. And the expectation is anywhere from 500,000 to 2 million barrels per day will be cut from their production. Now, that's the range. It seems like, as I read through several different articles, that the indication is that it should be somewhere between 1 million and 2 million, which is why we're seeing oil prices continue to go up. we'll have to see what that press conference looks like a little later today. We talked about there's not much in the way of earnings yet, but I do want to give you just a little heads up for tomorrow, because tomorrow we actually have a few things coming in. ConAgra reports before the market tomorrow, as well as Constellation Brands. Those are two companies that we expect to report before the market opens, as well as McCormick. McCormick's always a big one early on. So those are three companies that we expect to report and be able to talk about in the morning. The other thing, let's see if I can find it here. If we look at where the market is now, as we close out this morning, we are heading down. So it looks like we're going to give back some of those gains, Doug, as we start the day, which we've had two really big up days. So for the market to take a breath is not unusual. We got the Dow right now down 1%, as well as the S&P 500 down 1%, the NASDAQ 100 down a little over 1%. So we're seeing just a little bit of a retracement there. So we'll see how we end up the day. And a lot of that may depend upon what OPEC says a little later this morning. But we've got silver giving back a big chunk of what it's done the last 2 days, down 3.6% to $20.33 an ounce. Gold down 0.5%. And crude oil, like I said, is heading up, not by a lot this morning, up about 0.1% to $86.58 a barrel right now. And if we look at kind of what's happening across the pond worldwide, we still see that Europe is all in the red as well, down anywhere from 0.7% to 1.5%, depending upon the market. Asia is a mixed bag, with the Nikkei actually up about 0.5%, the Shanghai down 0.5%. So all in all, it's going to be a mixed bag today as we walk through what the markets are going to do for us today. We know we got a little bit of earnings to talk about tomorrow, and looking forward to that. Remember that there's a lot of things in this world that we can't control, but we can control how much risk we have in our portfolio. And that's why we developed our core retirement design. And give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your core retirement design. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk 730, 95.3 FM.
All right, Phillip, thank you for the update, and we will talk to you again tomorrow morning.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.